don't tell anyone. But you're listening to the best kept business secret and his podcast, dedicated to helping you understand the successful business secrets that others don't want you to know, making no secret of success. Now, here's your host and quite possibly the best kept business secret anywhere, Mark Ford.
Hello again, and welcome to your Best Kept Business Secret podcast with me, possibly your Best Kept Business Secret, Mark Ford. Hope you're well. Hope the week has been brilliant for you. Today, guys, I've got an interview with two experts that have studied the science of getting rich. Or have they? In fact, actually, what they've studied are 4 money mindsets, and they're prevalent no matter where you look. It is about the difference between being rich to being poor, to being comfortable, to being constantly in debt. Guys, these two people have got such a fantastic background and some great tips and some great ideas and some thoughts on how you, yes you, the small business owner, can take themselves from being just existing to being a very rich person indeed. Joe and Karen are money experts, and the phrase money experts gets bandied about a lot. Are they experts in reinvesting your money? No. Do they have a property portfolio so big that they own more than a local housing association? No. But what they are two people that have come from backgrounds where they've seen money control people, for good and for bad, mainly for bad. And so there had to be another way. Why is it that people who get out of debt quickly go straight back into debt? And why can people who are rich can lose absolutely everything and very quickly become rich again? And if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur and working your buns off but not seeming to make any money, surely it's everybody else's fault, right? Wrong. Now, they co-founded the Penny Drops in 2010, which is a training company dedicated to showing people what to do to unlock their financial success and live the life they truly want. The couple built their first business from the ground up in 2004, creating innovative, do you know what I wrote this? Innovative, that's it. I always trip over that word, approaches and processes to make it a success. They learned that developing a rich money mindset was the key to their success, and that it's crucial to understand the right financial decisions to be taking and the right time to be making them. After studying for many years, the couple noticed a 4 money mindset: in debt, break even, comfortable, and rich. Sounds simple, right? But do you know which one you are? And how do you go from being in debt to break even? From comfortable to rich? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to find out. Joe and Karen, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. We're fab.
Very well, thank you.
Yeah.
Was that intro all right? Did we like that intro?
That was wicked. But yeah, absolutely covered off so much. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That we'll end the interview here now. No, I'm not joking. Right, okay. Look, your story, Karen, is an amazing background story to how this really all happened. People often talk about reasons why and all that sort of business. And when it comes to money, genuinely, people think that there's normally an ulterior motive to helping people make money, if that makes sense. Like, property investors who want more property investors to help them make money, blah, blah, blah. Tell us about your story and how you got into, really starting to study money mindset.
I mean, what's interesting about this is I think I've been fascinated by money and money mindset my entire life. I can't ever remember a time when I wasn't. Now, it all started a long time ago back in Ireland, in that my dad came from one of the richest families in Ireland and my mum from one of the poorest. And it was fascinating to see the different families and how they approached money differently. And one of the things that really struck me was it wasn't as if the rich bunch didn't ever have money problems. Sometimes they had some terrible money problems. I remember an uncle of mine, he nearly hit the wall 5 times financially. But the rich crew always figured out how to come back and come out of it shining. And they were back in the game again. Whereas the poor side of my family, were just perpetually in and out of debt. They would get chunks of money coming their way, sometimes quite big chunks of money coming their way, but they would somehow always let it slip through their hands and lose it. And as I got a little bit older, I started to, you know, the way you see these things, lottery winners, it's something like about 70% of lottery winners within about 3 years have gone through all of the money. And Joe, what's the statistic? I can't remember it now, but it's something like a quarter of them go on to declare bankruptcy in the States. And I was thinking there's more to this than just luck. There was also an incident when I was a child which really, really focused me, which was when I was about 7, my dad's business collapsed and we lost everything. And I think I became really traumatized by that, because my dad, not only did the business collapse, Mark, but he had a breakdown. Yeah. He spent 18 months in a kind of wilderness where he couldn't function at all. And then he went into a family business after that he loathed, just to work, and he worked for the rest of his life in a job. And watching him go into work every morning just dying because he hated it, but he was too frightened to do his own thing again, I think, after the business collapsed. And in the end, he did let hard work kill him. He just sort of faded away.
See, it's really interesting. Is everything that you're saying so far is basically a lot of how we view money is almost bred into us at a very early age.
That's right.
So, obviously, if there's one thing that you could do with the school system right now, would it be to actually teach people about how money works?
It certainly would, and I think there's some very specific things that I would like to change about the school system. Joe and I worked relentlessly at analysing, so what is it that actually are the steps that people would need to take to shift their money mindset and end up in a positive place. And we've looked at the financial capabilities that we look at nationally now. And I did some financial capability work for Citizens Advice, and I used to have to use the National Financial Capability Standards. And Mark, they're wrong.
In what way are they wrong?
How they are wrong is they look at a little bit about saving money, but when they say saving money, they mean not spending too much. And they look a little bit at, how to analyse taking out the right credit card and things like that, and very basic financial decisions. But when we teach people about money, we teach them, we've come up with 5 skills that we know from building our business are critical. And one of these skills in particular, Mark, is creating money. Now, we don't teach kids anything about creating money in school. We teach them about earning money. Yeah. And the skill to earn money has nothing to do with being financially successful. I mean, think about it yourself. How many people do you know who have big jobs with big salaries and they're massively in debt?
Lots.
Yeah, lots. And I really saw it, Mark, as I was growing up, with the 2 different sides of the family and all the different things that we would see. My uncle Stanley Roach he was so loaded. And there used to be articles about him in newspapers and all sorts of things like that. And then one day, this lady I knew came down the road and she said, "I saw your Uncle Stanley in town today and you give him 2pence." And what she meant by that was that Stanley didn't feel like he had to look loaded. Stanley was confident he was okay. He was loaded. So he'd go around in an old bit of a jacket and probably Wellington boots or something, because he had a farm as well. Yeah. When I was debt advising, one of the saddest things I would go to nice houses with 2 nice cars on the driveway, and none of them were owned by the people. They were all owned by the banks and car finance and all of this. And these people were in hock up to their eyes. And they about earning money. They'd have great big salaries, but actually they weren't able to keep up with the repayments. If we would teach our kids how to create money for themselves, they wouldn't get into this situation at all. And actually, they would have immense freedom. That is financial freedom.
Absolutely. So you've talked about that one skill there. Joe, talk us through the other 4 skills.
They're going to sound very simple, but one of them is managing money. Mm-hmm. And this is actually knowing what you're doing with money, how much there is, and how to budget. Then there's the saving element. And when you run a business, this is vitally important, because without reasonable, not too much, but without substantial savings, you can't survive over the desert.
Yeah.
And then we've got the creating, which is the one that everybody loves. And we all often feel if we can create, and we're going to be rich. Mm-hmm. But actually, so the other 2 are spending, mm-hmm. which seems very, very simple, doesn't it really? But we have detailed assessments to figure out what is actually happening with the spending money. Because we've often confused investing and betting,
Yeah.
Then the last one is actually giving, which you might not think of as a skill, but we often see when we look at the numbers, to give the right amount at the right time to the right people is critical. Because if you overgive, you harm yourself, and you can't actually break out to become financially successful. So in total, we've got 5 skills.
See, it's very interesting. You said that they sound simple, but aren't the best ideas and the best ways of doing things actually always very simple? As a race and as business people, for some reason, we always seem to try to overcomplicate things.
You're right, yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense, does it?
That's exactly right. And I notice sometimes you think, well, if we overcomplicate it and get it all, and learn all this, then that'll sort it, when actually it's actually quite simple, but it's difficult where you have these blocks or these major issues that you need to address.
So I like the simplicity and the fact that I've become very, very aware, especially in the business world, and having met you and spoken to you and read your book, Karen, the fact that there are a lot of people out there that like to almost like promote the emperor's new clothes. And and with the pair of you, I get, and certainly from the book, I get the distinct impression that's not what you're doing. That is not, let's start building funnels, let's start sort of like, building complicated graphs, and I can make you a millionaire on a spreadsheet in 22 seconds, that type of stuff, because that just really, really annoys me. And it is down to simplicity. And I wish, when people take a step back, so if people are listening to this right now and they are in debt or they're not where they should be financially, that they take this moment just to take a little step back, because effectively that's what you guys are offering, is that you're asking people just to take a little bit of a step back, look at how they deal with money. And obviously in the earlier part of the conversation, I think it would be fair to say that none of us were ever taught how to deal with money when we were at school. And considering now that the UK is really hitting the gig economy, I think is more than ever is probably a really good time to be teaching people how to deal with money, because there's going to be a lot of competition out there. If you're in a graphic designer's role, or if you're in a business coaching role or something like that, guess what? There's going to be another 100 of the buggers around the corner, and they're all going to be wanting to, your same clients and your same customers, and is going to be incredibly competitive in the next few years. It's just to take a step back and just look at how you are dealing with money. So this brings us kind of on to the study that you did, because you guys came up with 4 money mindsets. And I know I mentioned them in the introduction, but I'd love you to run through the money mindsets and the typical traits of each mindset, just so that people can recognize where they are. So over to you guys.
Absolutely. I mean, this was an exciting thing for us. Way back after we built our initial business from the ground up, and things became easier for us. We had more space to do what we wanted to do. Because of my background with my dad and the business collapsing and everything, I trained up as a debt advisor. Because I think I was motivated, Mark, by wanting to help kids not go through maybe what I'd gone through when I was little. But what actually happened is, as I went out to deal with my clients, we started to notice that we'd go in, help them get out of debt, renegotiate with the people to whom they owed money. And the next thing, within 6 months, they would be back in debt again. And also we noticed, Mark, that their families often had the same kind of way of doing money. Because they would say, look, could you help my auntie? Could you help my daughter and my son and my cousins? And this was really how it operated. And we started to think, oh my word, the way we're doing debt advice, the way debt advice has done it all, is actually like a revolving door. People are getting back into debt all of the time. So we thought, you know what, there is an in-debt money mindset. And because we're both NLP master practitioners, and with my background in competency and capability development and psychometrics, we went out and we thought, right, let's investigate this in-debt money mindset. And what we thought, well, there's another mindset that's kind of the not in-debt money mindset. And there's the in-debt money mindset. And let's go out and we can help people get out of debt and stay out of debt. And back then, that was our whole thing, get out of debt and stay out of debt. It was when we went out and did the research and the work, we thought, crikey, there's actually 4 of these things. And you can see it so clearly in the financial decisions people make, which money mindset they are. So there was the one to be in debt, sure, but there was a money mindset to break even. And there was a money mindset to be comfortable, and there was one to be rich. And we started to see very, very quickly, whichever one of these you have will dictate how financially successful you are. And how you would know that you have any of these money mindsets is by looking at the financial decisions you're making. So when money comes into you, does it automatically, some of it gets sucked away to pay debt, so you're already in debt?
Yeah.
Now, that would characterize an in-debt money mindset. Or, as your money comes in, is it just allocated for expenses, but you never really manage to save any? You don't have any debt, but you don't save any. Maybe a little bit at the end of the month, but it goes after a while. And that would characterize a break-even money mindset. Now, it's very easy to identify a comfortable money mindset, because people with a comfortable money mindset save first. And they have good savings, and they know how to save, and they will then spend what's left. And people with a rich money mindset, as soon as money comes to them, they will leverage it. They will leverage it and they will add value, and they will spend later on. And you find very often with the rich money mindset, the top 2% of people, they will buy luxuries from money that's generated from their leveraged assets. You never see them taking on consumer debt to buy a luxury, because that's the route to poverty.
Yeah.
Now, if people listening to this want to find out a bit more about their money mindset and drill into this in detail, they can email us here at Karen@the4moneymindsets.com, and we can send them a specific exercise where they can in detail work through and figure out their money mindset.
That's brilliant. What I'll do is I'll put that in the show notes. So you can just go,
Fantastic.
if people are listening, just go to the show notes. There'll be a bit of blurb about what's happening here, and then just click on the link and it will take you straight through to that email address. So no problem at all. We'll get that sorted. So when it comes to business, this one's for you, Joe, because I haven't heard from you for 30 seconds. This is why I love a sort of a little partnership going on, because I have to bounce it off each of you. So Joe, when it comes to business, how do you think the 4 money mindsets affect people and how they conduct themselves in business?
Well, it's interesting because I grew up in a business family. I've only ever worked in businesses. So my father, my mother, my 3 younger brothers, and we're into our 50s now. All we've ever done is business. And what it is that you have a default money mindset. And that dictates how you look at money and the decisions that you make. Right. And you would think if you're running a business, you'd have the rich money mindset. And most people I didn't when I first started off, but it took us a while to figure out exactly why not and what to do about it. So your mindset dictates the decisions and success that you have. And that's what you've got to address. If it's, for example, a comfortable money mindset, which is often the case, you have big savings, but you can't move ahead. You're sort of almost stuck into this loop of safety. So creating then becomes difficult. If it's a break-even one, then you spend the money that's there and you just end up spending. But again, it's not really a business, because when I was very, very young, as a family, we made loads of money, but we tend to spend it on the trappings of what you'd think would be success, which is like fancy cars and things. Yeah. Rather than leveraging, investing it, I'm not saying investing, in a way, creating more. And that's what we want to do, is to help people to be in the creative side so they can do more out in the world that they value. And you can only do that with a rich money mindset. And it's only a fraction of the population that actually have it.
See, it's interesting there you use the word value. And I'm thinking back to a scenario that has happened quite recently where somebody that came to me who is incredibly talented, and I mean incredibly talented at what they do, effectively just chased money, and to the point where they would be doing a piece of work that any other day, if comparatively anybody else in their field would be charging 200 quid for easily. Yeah. And they were asking for 25 quid. And they couldn't get it into their head that actually they should be charging that £200 or even more, because they're even more, they're more talented than some of their competitors. And they were just becoming a busy fool. And what I noticed was that it started bleeding out into everything that they do. So the way they dealt with their prospective clients, the way that they talked to people, the way that they promoted themselves. It wasn't just about price. It was almost a case of there was like an air of desperation around this particular individual. And it sort of, it took away from the talented work that they could do. And it took away from, the brilliance that they possessed, because they didn't value what they were doing because they were too busy chasing money.
Mm-hmm. And something interesting about that, Mark, that when we help people, we see things like this a lot. And it's very often associated with a money block, and that people have a block deep down and it drives their behaviors and it shows up in their money. So you start to see, right, they've not got enough money coming through and they're probably feeling a bit desperate. They only feel their value is 25 quid or whatever it is. So they really need to get much more 25 quids than 200 quid customer. Yeah. So they're desperately running around, and there are various deep down blocks and emotions and feelings that are actually driving this. What you do notice though, and we will all notice this, the way you do money is the way you do everything. So if you've got a desperation about money, you've probably got a desperation about other things in your life as well. Yeah. Because money is just a great indicator of what's actually going on overall in your life and with your energy that you're putting out into the world.
Right. Okay. I get that. No, I completely get that. Completely get that.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to ask you for 3 tips. I'm going to ask you for 3 tips that you can suggest to people on how to make a huge step forward to changing their money mindset. So it doesn't matter whether they're in debt and they want to go to, comfortable, or from comfortable to rich. What 3 things could they do today to start them making a huge step forward to that next level of money mindset?
I think, the first thing for people to do is to actually understand which money mindset they currently have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important. And as we were saying earlier on, they might, from just the way we've described it, already know it. Or if not, get on and figure that out. And I think the second step with that is to then be compassionate to yourself. We find people have an awful lot of shame and negative feelings associated with money and where they are with money. And really, if you find that you've not got the rich money mindset, not to feel bad about it, because guys, really, very few people grew up surrounded by rich people where they automatically picked up the rich money mindset. You might have one of the other 3. But if you want to start and grow a business successfully, you have to have the rich money mindset, because the other 3 money mindsets really keep you in the world of employment, or if you try to jump into a business in a world of misery. So those would be the first 2 things I would say. Find your money mindset and be nice to yourself about it, in the knowledge you can do something about it. And Joe, what would you say?
And then, well, there's this following on from that, because the vast majority, 98%, don't have the rich money mindset. It's to get help from someone, the good and the right kind of help. And what we often say is that you need to get help from believable people.
Mm-hmm.
And what we mean by that is that, has the person that you're asking for help, have they done exactly what it is that you need to be doing? So you have to be very clear with that, because everyone's got opinions on money and business, and not all of them are good.
Very true. Very true.
And you need to be quite robust, because you need to make sure that the person you're getting help from can explain the individual steps, can they explain the reasoning, the cause and effect behind what you've asked them to explain, not just the simple conclusion. And have they got an ability to support you? And because this is quite deep transformational work, changing a mindset, because it does go very, very deep, and you can't do it with kind of pushing on through like some kind of boot camp. You have to be quite compassionate and non-judgmental. So that's the kind of person and people you need.
And I think a thing Joe says often as well, you do, we all in business need help. The people you need to go to need to be trustworthy.
Yes.
Yeah. As Joe said, that they won't judge you, because this is, wanting to change like this is hard work. And you need to give yourself every odds that you can.
Well, in many cases, it's a case of, this stuff has been almost like bred into you, really, isn't it? It's a case
That's
of,
right.
you never set out to have a poor or debt-ridden money mindset, but it could be a case of, do you know what, for 20 odd years when you were at home, that's how you were brought up. You know?
And you don't know any different, and you shouldn't judge yourself. It's the worst thing. Judging
Absolutely.
badly like that, because it causes that much misery to people. They blame themselves, and it's awful.
Absolutely, and if you had a pet that's that's been, you've picked up a pet from a care rescue place or something like that, and it's got some bad habits, what you do is you go and get the dog retrained. This is what we're talking about, is retraining, our own mindset for the benefit of ourselves. And it may be a bit painful. You may not get the answers that you want to hear. And I know it's, when it comes to business coaching is a great example, is that when people sometimes come to me, they almost want a pat on the back.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can't give you that pat on the back, especially if your business is in absolute tatters and you're looking for excuses of why it's there. Sometimes it's a case of actually you need to deal with a harsh reality. And then once we've dealt with the harsh reality, then we can move on and then you learn from the mistakes that we've made previously. And these are better ways of doing it. So no, you're absolutely right. Guys, it's been brilliant talking to you. Look, guys, if you want to go read about the money mindsets, go onto Amazon. Karen's written a brilliantly written book, and I've read it from cover to cover. And I messaged her when I downloaded it, and I literally read it in 24 hours. And it's very unlike me to read a book from cover to cover in 24 hours, and I got an absolute bucket load out of it. And it did make me take a little bit step back and look at myself and look at members of my family as well. So that was really important. So go to Amazon again. I'll stick the links in the show notes, and that's the 4 Money Mindsets, and that's by Karen. And I'll also put the link in the show notes to directly email the guys so that you can get in touch and have a little bit of a chat. But where else can they find you guys? Can they find you on Facebook? Can they find you on LinkedIn? Where are they looking and who are they looking for?
Yeah, I mean, we'd love people to get in touch with us through Facebook. The Penny Drops one.
I love that. I do. I love that. The fact you've called it the Penny Drops. I absolutely love it because it is. We're waiting for the penny to drop, kids. That's what we're doing.
Right. That's right. And I mean, email us, get in touch with us through Facebook, and let's have a good old natter.
Brilliant. Karen, Joe, thank you so much for your time this morning. I'm sure this has been a massive benefit to everybody that's been listening. Thank you very much. Well, there's some absolute massive value bombs in there for you guys. Honestly, they really do know what they're talking about, and they are lovely, lovely people. If you're in any doubt, just get in touch. The links will be in the show notes. Go and have a chat with them. See if they can help you make that extra 5, 10, 20 grand, whatever amount of money it is that's going to make you feel slightly happier and make it all feel a little bit more worthwhile. It may be something really, really simple, and it just could be one conversation, one email, and it could change your life forever. Guys, if you're enjoying the podcast, let me know. Go to iTunes, go and give us a rating. If it's a good rating, that's great. If it's a crap one, don't bother. But get in touch with me, mark@markford.uk. And if you think there is somebody that I should be interviewing, that I should be talking to spread their knowledge, to help you get a better business faster, get in touch with me, mark@markford.uk. You can also go to the website where I will give you a free 20-day video. Do you know what? I wrote this. I'm trying to read this and I still can't read. This is ridiculous. I'm keeping this in. It just goes to show you that I'm real. Go to my website and I will give you a 20-day free business coaching question challenge. It's completely free. Every day I will send you an email, and there will be a video of me asking you a very simple question, and hopefully it will help you change your focus on your business a little bit and help you get a better business faster. Okay, just go to www.markford.uk. That's www.markford.uk. Go and have a look at that. Until next time, go out, be bloody brilliant as you deserve to be, and I will see you very soon.